Hey guys, it's me Courtney and welcome to my channel. In today's video we're going to be talking about the Clinique Even Better foundation. Now this isn't to be confused with the one, I know they have an Even Better Glow foundation. I did have a request on this one and this one was more so the one that I was interested in. With that being said, if you guys are interested in my thoughts and opinions, the wear test, all that great stuff, then please continue to watch. Alright, so this is the foundation. It does come in a squeeze tube. It is 1 ounce for $29.50. I got mine at Ulta. You can also get it at Sephora. I believe Sephora has 55 shades while Ulta has 56. I'm not sure exactly why they did the shade range like that, why it's different, but I do think it has a pretty extensive, pretty nice shade range. There were a few colors I probably could have got away with. I ended up going with WN112 Ginger, and I'm assuming the WN stands for warm neutral. That being said, it is a little bit of a deeper foundation for my skin tone. This does have SPF 15, and typically when it comes to foundations with an SPF in it, I feel like they can get a little bit weird in their coloration. Luckily I haven't had that happen with this foundation. Again, I feel like getting that richer tone kind of combats whatever discoloration may happen. I haven't gotten any grayness, I haven't gotten any flashback, any of that. Another thing is, like, I always like having an SPF in my foundation or in my primer. It kind of takes one step out of my like skincare routine, if that makes sense. As far as what this foundation claims, it says it's a medium coverage, natural finish, cream formulation for normal, dry, combo, and oily skin. It has SPF. So again, it's one of those things where it doesn't really say it's like a super duper long wear foundation. Doesn't say it's gonna last you 24 hours or anything like that, but it does say it stays true to color, and that it has SPF, and that's really just about it. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you guys in so we can go ahead and apply the foundation. Alrighty, so today I'm going to be using my Fenty Beauty foundation brush. This is the older one that I had. And then I'm going to be using my Real Technique sponge on the other side. So this is about how much I've been going in with. So we're just going to see if that works. I feel like that's pretty much equivalent to maybe 2.5 pumps, something like that. Alright, so this side is without. And then this side is with. As you can see, you do get a pretty good amount of coverage. One thing that I would caution, this foundation is a really creamy texture. I do love the way that it feels, but what I will say is if you do use too much, it can get a little bit cakey. So while I don't mind the look of the brush, I actually prefer a sponge with this foundation. It is very skin-like, very lightweight, but be mindful, like I said, if you use too much, it can get a little bit cakey, especially around the nose with the brush. So I do recommend actually using the sponge. I just wanted to show you guys what that really looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and use the rest on my hand on the other side with my Real Technique sponge. This is with the sponge, and this other side was with the brush. Now I did go in and sort of tap around my nose a little bit, again because I didn't want any caking within that. Now if I'm comparing it to some of my favorites, I still do believe like my Kat Von D True Portrait foundation feels a little bit more lightweight than this one, but as far as the overall look, to me they're both really great. But yeah, I really do like the way that my skin looks. It has a little bit of a glow. You can still see a little bit of my moles, so you can build this foundation up if you choose to. I've just been going with like one light layer of foundation with a lot of things just because, I don't know, I haven't really been feeling like a whole lot of coverage lately. I've just been feeling like medium buildable is fine, but I have no issues with building this foundation up and feeling like it feels gross or looks gross. It is smooth to the touch, slightly tacky, still just a little bit transferable, so I might do like a light dusting of a powder, maybe, we'll see. But I am gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup and then we can come back and have a little chat. Alright guys, so this is the look that we are going to be rocking today. So I've tried this foundation with a few different powders, different concealers, different primers to really get a good feel of like what I want to tell you guys about it. And so with that being said, so today I did not use a setting powder. It is a little slightly tacky, but not to the point where I feel like I really have to use a powder. Again, if you guys have been watching me for a while, you guys know I have dry skin, so sometimes I can take a foundation and just go all day without using a powder or without setting it, and it'll still be fine. It still actually feels really soft to the touch. It's still a little transferable without setting it with the powder, but because it just looks nice and feels good, I'm not gonna mess with what I got going on right now. I do believe that this coverage is a buildable coverage, but you want to be mindful with how much you're using to build. Even right now, you can still see some of my moles, you can still see, you know, a little bit of skin underneath, but it does what it says it's gonna do as far as evening out the complexion, evening out the skin tone. Okay, so right now it is currently 10:50, so I'm going to try to do like an 8-hour wear test. I'm gonna go ahead and go about the rest of my day, and I will see you guys in the next clip, which will be about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. Alrighty. Okay guys, I am back, and this is what my face is looking like. I do believe that it is a very natural finish foundation. I do believe it's a very lightweight foundation. It does feel really good. Like I said earlier, I kind of compare it to the feel of the Kat Von D True Portrait foundation. So it does feel really good on the skin. So another thing that I do love about this foundation is that it is very blurring, but it has a skin light capacity to it. So it's like an equal balance of sort of refining your pores, but on the opposite end, it's not looking like you have a ton of makeup on, if that makes sense. There are a few things that I want to note though. This foundation does have a little bit of a matte tendency, and I feel like it is amplified when you use any kind of mattifying primer. For example, I use it with the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer, which is a really good primer just to smooth out your pores. However, with that specific one, your skin does get slightly mattified, and in turn my skin ended up looking a little bit drier on those days. And when I did use it with the more mattifying primers, it did add a little bit more texture to the skin. I felt like certain products that I had wouldn't sit right on top of it. So like if I tried to use one of my shimmer powders or something on top of it to sort of bring life back to the foundation, it just looked like it was dry powder on top, if that makes sense. I also tried it on the opposite end with a moisturizing primer, and I'm not really a fan of that either. I feel like with the moisturizing primers, it did combat the dryness. However, the makeup didn't last as long. It was a little bit slippy, a little bit slidey, and then my pores felt more accentuated. For me just having regular dry skin, I feel like maybe just a basic touch of silk canvas will work. Today I believe I used the Nars Pore and Shine primer. That one's like in between a mattifying and a moisturizing, so it's like a nice balance. And in turn, I ended up getting a pretty decent makeup day. So if you're somebody that has a physical job, so maybe you sweat a little bit at work, or if you're somebody that does, you know, your makeup when you go to the gym, I don't think this is one of those foundations that lasts through any sort of heat or sweat. I did have a demanding day at work one of these days that I wore this, and in turn at the end of the day with my sweat and everything going on that day, it really didn't last that long. Keep that in mind if you're somebody who has a little bit more of an active lifestyle. This wouldn't be the foundation I would recommend for that. As far as today goes, as you can see, I have gotten just a little bit oily, and when it gets oily, just like with any foundation, you do transfer. Now mind you, I didn't set this foundation with any kind of powder or anything today, and I do feel like with this foundation, as far as the cons, now that the oils are coming out, if you look closely, you can see a little bit of my pores coming through. And with the oils coming in, it is a little bit, like you can probably see, it's a little bit cakey right here. It doesn't feel cakey feeling, but I still think that it feels very comfortable. Another thing that I want to point out is it does sink into the smile lines just a little bit. And again, the more that you use, the more it's going to sink into those lines. I think the 6 to 8 hour mark is going to be your sweet spot for this foundation, which by the way, it is $7.55, so I have had it on about 8 hours. But I do think it's a really good foundation. I do still love the way that my skin looks, even with the oils popping through, and I love the way my skin feels, which, you know, I've had some issues with some foundations lately and the feel of them have been like crazy. So I'm here for the feel of this foundation. Alright, so just so you guys can see what it looks like when you touch up, I'm gonna take my Sephora Micro Smooth Powder and I'm lightly gonna dust. so this is what it looks like with the light dusting, and to me I feel like it still looks really, really good. And it didn't take a lot of powder or anything to get it like this. It doesn't feel any heavier. I'm not ashamed to like go out the house in this. I still like the way it looks. So overall, I would say if you guys have been curious about this foundation, I would definitely try it out. But yeah, so hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully I wasn't rambling on too much. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video if the mood suits you, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.